Good morning, Stacey Ashley here. Haven't done a live for a couple of days, so I thought I'd better get back on here and say hello. So welcome if you're live. I'm going to check my stream. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today is how do I motivate my team? And why am I talking about this? Well, I just keep getting asked this question. You know, I hear that people are wanting to motivate their team. You know, they're saying, look, they're not engaged, they're not motivated, I don't know what to do, you know, and I need some strategies so I can motivate them, which is admirable, but you need to do something slightly different than motivating your team. So welcome if you're live, and if you're watching the recording, I'd love to hear, well, whether you're live or watching the recording, I would really love to hear from you. So pop in your comments, your thoughts about how do you motivate your team. The thing is, and I'm just going to check my stream again because my internet's a bit wonky. Okay, beautiful. So how do I motivate my team? They're not engaged enough. They're not focused. I need them to participate. And often this is around, in particular, change, and of course, which we're seeing a lot of at the moment. So not only have we just kind of gone through a dramatic change to working conditions because of the pandemic, but now what we're seeing is, you know, the potential for people to for the conditions to be kind of more relaxed, and for people to be coming out of isolation and quarantine and beginning to kind of resume, what shall we say, the new normal, new working conditions, whatever that may look like, in a kind of a phased process. And so this is, again, it's a big change. It's probably going to take a lot longer to undo what's been done and to figure out what's the new way of working going to be. What are the new work modalities? Thanks, Andrew Deering. I'm really liking that approach. So not flexible working, but work modalities. And so in order for us to be successful at executing this next transition, transformation, change as we go into the new way of working, of course, we want people to be feeling like they're involved in that, and we need them to be involved in that and participating so that we can get great outcomes for individuals, teams, organisations. And so again, what I'm hearing is, how do I motivate my team? The short answer is you can't. As a leader, you can't motivate your team. And I'd be interested in your thoughts on that. That's my belief. Motivation is an inside job. Right? It's not up to you to motivate your team. It's up to them to motivate themselves. I'm just going to change one little thing here and get rid of that banner. Okay. They need to motivate themselves. You can't do it for them. As the leader, though, you do have a clear responsibility to create the opportunity for them to become motivated, to choose to opt in, to choose to be engaged, to become part of whatever it is that you're doing as a team or a change or an organisation. So your job as the leader is not to motivate them, it's to provide the conditions in which they can become motivated. So it's about everything from clarity of job role, about connection to purpose of for them, of the team, of the organisation. It's about making sure that you're encouraging them, supporting them, that you acknowledge them and value them. It's about the culture. It's about the systems and processes. So it's all of those dimensions that create the opportunity and conditions in which they can become motivated, in which they want to choose to be part of it. Yeah. So that's your job as the leader, not to motivate them, but to create the situation in which they can choose to motivate themselves. Yeah. And so there's so many things that you can do around that right now. And in particular around change, it's about, you know, obviously making sure that they understand what's going on, that there's an awareness, that you're messaging, that you're communicating, that you're creating trust and certainty and stability in your leadership, so that they can choose to opt into what you're doing and what you're leading. You want them to know where they fit. Yeah, so we need to be really clear in our messaging there. What's going to happen and how do they participate in that so that they can choose to participate. You need to use a coaching approach so that you invite them into the conversation as opposed to telling them what to do or telling them what's going to happen. We want to have a conversation. You want to create connection with people so that they can choose to be part of it. They can contribute, they can be proactive. But also by coaching them, you can understand and you can begin to learn what's important to them, because what's important to them is going to be a big factor in whether they are motivated, whether they choose to be part of, what you're doing, what your team's about, what your organisation is about. So let me just check my feed. And I can see a few people there, so welcome. Great to have you here. And I would love to know what are your thoughts on motivation and motivating people. Hey, Rick. So motivation is not something you do for someone else, right? Obviously, you are responsible for motivating yourself, and a lot of people are self-motivated, which is amazing. But we need to, as leaders, create opportunity, create possibility. And that's doing all the things that you need to do. Show up as a leader, share your wisdom, coach people. So you need to mentor, model, and coach. So you're seeing people, you're connecting with them, you're showing them leadership, you're growing leadership. And you're creating the conditions under which they can become motivated. You want them to engage. It has to be important enough for them to engage. By coaching them to recognize what's important to them and how that fits with what's happening, then, you're creating the opportunity for them to become motivated. By acknowledging them, by understanding what their strengths are, by, just even, in simple communication, saying hello in the morning often makes a really big difference to people, who have experienced situations where they've got leaders who don't say hello in the morning. Those small things can actually add up to the conditions in which people can become motivated. So there's lots of small things you can do, as well as the big things about, purpose, what we're here to do, vision, values, behaviours. All of those things as well, of course, are factors in you creating the conditions in which people can become motivated. If someone isn't motivated, if they're not engaged, if they're not opting in, then talk to them about that. What is it that they need? What are they looking for? You may or may not be able to address those things, but have the conversation with them so that so you understand. And then if there are things within your power or area of responsibility as a leader that you can do, then you choose to do them to create the opportunity for them to become motivated. So ask those questions. What do they need? What would make it important enough? How do they feel that they could make a difference? By opening up those conversations, you open up opportunity. So if someone chooses not to participate, that's okay. That is their choice. It's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to create the opportunity. To create the environment, to create the culture in which they can become motivated. And you need to let go of the responsibility of, being responsible for their motivation. You're not responsible for their motivation. They are. But you are responsible for the context. Yeah, that's your job as a leader. Create the context. Trust, certainty, stability, openness, all those things that you do as a leader create the opportunity for people to become motivated. Some won't. That's okay. They may need other things in which, that work better for them, and then they can make choices around that. But if you can be comfortable that you're creating the opportunity and the environment and the context, then you're doing your job as a leader. And people will choose to be motivated. They will become motivated. And you can acknowledge that as well. So I would love to know, what do you think about this whole area of motivation? And what are some of the things that you do to create the conditions, the situation, the environment in which people can become motivated? Because I think there would be others that would really love to know what other options they've got to use in their role as leaders. Enrico, nice to see you there. So let me know your thoughts, questions, comments, and I'd love to know. I agree, Rick, communication is absolutely key. For anyone who's interested in giving themselves a little leadership performance boost, then join the 28-day self-coaching challenge. Just type 28 days into the comments and I'll get the details to you. And I will be seeing you next week for some more lives, and in particular, my next Leading Possibility interview with Lisa Phillips. So have a great weekend, and I will talk to you again soon.